Welcome to the AA show. This is episode, 7. And, well, I wanted to make a list, but I could not make a list. So, what I did here was there's just a few genres of. There's a few genres that really define what we call cult classic. Like, on top of your head, you could name a few movies for yourself what a cult classic is. Like, but nothing defeats like the mob mentality fandom of gangster films. Iba yung dating ng gangster films eh. Hindi lang mafia kasi pag mafia specific siya, 'di ba? So, we're just talking about here mob gangsters. So it's not country based or what. So it's not just in the US or Europe or Asia. It's all over the world. So it's so hard to make a list. That's why we're gonna look at like the top 10 for each websites. That includes Timeout.com, Studiobinder, and Esquire. So with me here is my brother-in-law Luis Carvalho, who is an avid gangster film fan, but really mas mas mob or mafia. Is it? It's hard to define the term,
My favorites are the Italian mafia films.
Italian mafia.
But I like the gangster films in general.
Oh.
But the problem is, in discussing top 10, 20, 50s like this,
Right. It's hard to put a
coming
one.
from a third world country,
Right.
we never really had access to a lot of these films, except the ones that were
Really in the movie houses.
Hollywood,
mupang movie house.
Hollywoodish films, no? So yeah. Anyway, I'm addicted, I admit.
I mean, you'd watch something that's in Rotten Tomatoes siguro kahit 7%, basta gangster film na interesting, no?
Well, yeah. Kung maganda yung, kung may trailer.
Pero kasi kahit sobrang bad acting, papanoorin mo pa rin eh. Kasi it's a type of genre that you like to watch eh. Like people who like watching horror films, kahit walang kwenta, panoorin mo pa rin.
Yeah, well, it's the gore they're looking for. Pero kasi, sa akin yung essence ng film. Like, how people see it na gangster movie, etc.
Right.
But there's a lot of stories behind it.
Oh.
That's what I look for. Okay. If, the end justifies the means. Sa kanila, the end does not justify the means.
What's the pinaka-core pag sinabi na mob or gangster film? What's the core of it?
Family.
Family.
Yeah.
Family
a lot
ties,
of people
no?
will argue with me, but it's really about family. It's
Family.
not about... It's not...
Even not by blood, di ba?
Yeah.
Di ba?
Yeah.
Sometimes, not blood is thicker than
Yes.
blood dito sa ibang films eh.
Yes.
Right?
That's the pinaka-common in all gangster, mafia slash
Mob.
mob
Yeah.
films. It's all about family.
Right. Okay. So, we'll start off with timeout.com, and we saw that they made a top 50 list, and I browsed through it. I didn't look right really on each one of them, but there's really some international films in their top 50. So you would be surprised with some films. Some of these films would probably never even watch. Now we're interested to watch these. Like in the top 10, it said Sexy Beast is at number 10 from the year 2000. So the line says, "What you think this is, the Wheel of Fortune? You think you can make your dough and fuck off? Leave the table." So this is, I think, a gangster film by in Spain. So Ben Kingsley is in this film, Ray Winston, and Don Logan. So
Ben Kingsley's here, huh?
yeah, Ben Kingsley. Interesting.
I have to watch this.
Right. It's interesting. Look at this guy, like yellow trunks.
All right.
Okay, so this is number 10. So I haven't watched it. He hasn't watched this. We'll
No.
probably watch this film. Number 9 is Miller's Crossing. It's a film from 1990.
Yes.
And one of the best line it says, "One thing I always try to teach my boys, always put one in the brain." What does that mean?
It's always put one.
Put one in the brain. Is it the bullet?
Yeah, just like
Okay.
in the other movie, Double Tap. Diba? You put
Double
one in the
Tap.
brain, it's done.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
I've actually browsed through this movie It's in my list of to watch.
To watch.
I think I'll do that. But the Coen brothers kasi, the Prohibition, problem with-
Prohibition era
yeah,
to,
Prohibition
no?
era.
Okay. Subawa alak ng panahon na to. Late
Kasi
20s,
there's
30s.
another movie, I forget the name, about the Bondurant brothers.
Right.
That's newer. It stars that guy from Venom. What's his name?
Sa Venom, yung bida.
Si-
Ha? Tom Hardy.
Yeah, Tom Hardy.
Okay.
This is about Prohibition era.
Prohibition lang, okay.
It's about the Bondurant brothers. It's historical. I mean, it's based on a true story.
Okay.
It can be considered a gangster movie because they were running illegal.
Illegal operations.
They were producing their own moonshine.
Right. Oo.
So
Moonshine is like, what do you call
Lambanog.
this? Parang lambanog. Oh, yeah. Oo. It's like-
Miller's Crossing is similar because of the same era.
yeah.
But see, like what I said earlier, yung access to movies like this one that came out 1990 but was never shown in Philippine cinemas.
Yeah, for sure. Yung mga ganito
So,
hindi malabas.
yeah, that's why
You
mahirap.
would probably have to borrow a VHS tape or
If
Betamax.
they had it.
If
Or
they had
Betamax,
it. Oo,
di ba?
oo.
Nung 1990s, yeah, VHS.
But for sure,
may
like
CD
in-
na yata, may LCD, may
May
Laserdisc na.
Laserdisc. Pero
Oo.
most likely, like, siguro ACA video, yun yung mga sikat nun, wouldn't have films like
They
this.
didn't have it.
Oo.
They didn't have it.
Mostly it's family-oriented. Medyo bawal yung
No,
mga...
meron naman mga back then. Pero, like, for example, Miller's Crossing, I think the production outfit is Hollywood, but not, not MGM or, not
Yeah.
on the top tier.
Right.
So,
Like, it's not high-budgeted.
Yeah.
Okay, next one in the list is the original. Once Upon a Time in America. Because there's a remake, di ba? Recently lang. Few years ago with Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt and Leo. Right? Okay. Once Upon a Time in America, 1984. Which stars?
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro, for
Anything with Robert De Niro and Mafia, even if it's comedy,
sure. Yeah.
just
It's-
like analyze this and analyze that,
Right.
is always a good
Even
watch.
Meet the Fockers.
Meet the Walk.
Right?
Yep.
He's something like that, to
Yeah.
that effect. Like, he's
Yeah.
a scary guy. Like, just
Anything
his
with
stare.
Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci,
Joe Pesci, yeah.
those guys.
So
It's a must watch.
One of the lines here, it says, "You'll put up and you'll shut up. You hear nothing and you see nothing, just like you did for Bugsy."
Yeah.
So this is Prohibition era also.
No. Actually, Prohibition and post-Prohibition na sila Bugsy Siegel.
It's in New York, Lower East Side, New
But
York.
this is pre-Las Vegas.
So it's more than just the godfather of Jewish gangster movies.
Mm-hmm.
So it's genre-bending type of movie. So it's a mix. Okay. All right. Let's go to number 7, which is,
Of course.
it says The Godfather Part 2, which was in 1974. So it's more of the rise. No, it's not the rise of Michael Corleone. It's his time already.
No, actually,
Right? It's his peak.
no. The Godfather 2 is...
Pati backstory ng...
It was it came out 2 years before I was born. But I've watched this film probably 100 or more times.
Yeah.
I've memorized the lines. This is, the rise of Michael,
Michael, yeah.
but it's also explaining the history of their family
Right.
and how they came to be. On what drove them to how they are at present in 1974 or whatever year they were representing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is probably the best sequel ever made for this type of genre. I mean,
It's a sequel and yet it's a prequel.
prequel, yeah. Sequel and prequel.
Yeah.
Because yung father niya during his younger years was represented by who's this guy?
Robert
De Niro.
No,
Robert De Niro, right?
No, the young Vito Corleone. Was Robert
De Niro
Yeah.
during the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So one of the lines here says, "If history has taught us anything, is that you can kill anyone." Who said that?
If history has taught us anything, is that Michael said that to one of his hitmen
To his
when they wanted to kill the Jewish guy, Roth,
Okay.
because they wanted to hit him in the airport.
This movie is so brutal. Like,
When he said this, if history has taught
Very
us anything,
violent.
it is that you can kill anyone. It's because he was planning a hit on Hyman Roth
Yeah.
in the airport upon arrival in the US, which they did.
Right.
They killed him. So
Okay. So that's the best sequel ever for a mob film.
Yeah.
Next one, number 6, it's Bonnie and Clyde. It's a 1967 film. I've watched this, I think, twice. It's it says here the line, "This here's Miss Bonnie Parker. I'm Clyde Barrow. We rob banks." So it's the greatest, one of the best love stories ever.
yeah,
Parang Romeo and Juliet in the thing.
yeah, ito naman
Tragic
kasi.
eh.
I never watched this. I was never a fan. Only
Of
because
Bonnie and Clyde or the movie?
of Bonnie and Clyde. Only
Bonnie and
because
Clyde.
they weren't gangsters, no?
The robbers.
They didn't have a group. Hold up.
They probably had siguro mga 2 to 3 people helping them from
but
time
when
to
you talk
time.
about gangsters, the word gang itself,
It's family.
it's a meeting of multiple people
Oh.
with the same diba?
Ito, they jump from one area to the next one place to the
Yeah,
next.
because every time they hit a bank, wanted sila kaya they have to go from one state to another.
Yeah. Remember tayo sa Vegas, there's a car na pinakita yung sasakyan nila
Yeah,
mismo.
yung actual na kotse
And if you
nila.
could actually count how many bullets there were, so hard to count how many bullet holes were in that car.
Nirat-rat sila, natokhang
Probably
sila.
more than 100.
Kulit nila eh.
Kulit na eh. So, lesson to be learned, don't rob banks.
No, because it came to a point where robbing banks was not worth it anymore.
Right.
But they were still doing it.
Yeah.
Kasi yun lang alam
It's
nilang
the
gawin.
thrill
Yeah.
that they have. Kaya nga sabi nila, it's you're my ride or die, di ba? So, you go with me. If
Which
you're
is-
riding with me, you're ready to die.
Which is, a favorite now ng mga, lalo na dito sa Pilipinas, yung local gangsters,
Pag nakamotor,
no,
ride or die.
ride or die.
Riding in tandem eh.
Showing
di ba?
loyalty lang naman, showing loyalty. Anyway,
Oh, yeah.
let's
Anyway.
move on.
Okay, let's move on to number 5, which is Mean Streets. I don't know this film. 1973 film.
Yeah, pero Mean
$20,
Streets,
let's go to the movies.
yeah.
Who said that?
I
So is
watched-
this Martin Scorsese also?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Pero I'm
I have
not
to
a
watch
big
this.
fan.
Really?
Yeah.
But it's Gangland also.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it doesn't center on
Pero De Niro din to.
but it doesn't center on literally yung Mean Streets, they're showing Mean Streets.
Of what area? Like, as per...
That I can't remember.
Okay. Alright, so that's number 5, Mean Streets. Number 4, Reservoir Dogs, 1992 film. Okay.
Of course.
Ito, cult classic to. Legit.
Yeah.
Okay. Until now, may mga cultural reference pa rin ginagamit from this film eh. But basically, Quentin Tarantino, one of the like polarizing directors for sure. But what do you think about this one?
I don't like Quentin Tarantino. The problem is, he's exaggerated something that people see as an exaggeration already.
Oh, it's
Because
he does
there's
bloody films eh.
there's a mythical when you're watching the mafia na parang stig ganyan pala talaga sila etc. And then this guy just multiplied it 1,000 times. The brutality in the film.
Yeah.
But that's just my take on it, It still is a good movie.
It's bloody and savage, and it says it has a masterly grip on storytelling and dialogue that's still to die for 3 decades later.
Yeah, but yung violence, you have to say it 10 times again. Kasi,
Does this deserve probably a remake? Probably, no?
but it's already Quentin Tarantino.
Oo nga eh. Like,
We can't do a remake.
No.
It's like saying you're gonna do a remake of Francis Ford Coppola's writings or
everyone's been saying they want to do a remake of Godfather.
they wanted to
Leo wanted to be part of it, right?
They were supposed to do Godfather 4 with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Apo na, parang something.
Yeah, but then he's gonna be the first blonde Godfather.
Oh.
All of them are
Right, he's blonde.
that's why they're called olive haired guineas.
Right. See, I didn't know that. Okay, moving on to number 3. Okay, this one's one of my favorites.
Of course.
Including my wife too. Goodfellas, which is a 1990s film. Kawawa din si Joe Pesci. Yung pag nilibig ka ng buhay.
Joe Pesci something else in this movie.
Oh. It says here one line that says, it's funny how I mean funny like I'm a clown. I amuse you. I make you laugh. I'm here to fucking amuse you. Who said that?
This was the scene when it was Joe Pesci and can you pull it down? See, I keep on forgetting the guy's name, the one on the left.
Ray
Ray Liotta.
Liotta.
Yeah.
Kasi Ray Liotta, yeah.
He was telling a joke and Ray Liotta starts laughing.
Uh,
And he goes, "You're funny." And then that's when si Joe Pesci tripped on him. Now, what? I'm funny? Huh? What are you talking about? I'm a clown?
Parang dito
But it was all a joke.
Bawal mo silang pikunin eh, no? Bawal mo silang
In this
insultuhin
case, bawal mo pikunin si Joe Pesci.
Oo. Kasi he's an firecracker.
He's got the biggest Napoleonic syndrome.
Siya yung may Napoleon syndrome
yeah,
dito.
yeah.
Oh. He's the smallest guy, but you know.
Plus, in the whole movie, he wasn't made yet.
Huh?
He wasn't made. He was Italian, but he wasn't part of the mob. He was a lackey. Ano siya? Utusan.
Utusan.
Yeah,
Okay.
he worked with the crew of Ray Liotta and Robert De Niro.
He worked his way up, kumbaga, sort of.
Dapat. But, yeah. But, just watch a movie. F***ed up somewhere. Sorry,
Okay.
pardon my French. but you know, he was never made. When you say made, you become part of a mafia family.
Right. Okay. So it's still significant up to this time, over 30 years after. And it's certainly a fun movie. Okay. Moving on to number 2. Okay, this is an old film, The Killing. It's a 1956 film. It says, one of the lines says, "All right, sister, that's a mighty pretty head you got on your shoulders. You want to keep it there or start carrying it around in your hands?" Okay, the best one last job movie ever made. All right.
Oh, Stanley Kubrick.
Stanley Kubrick. Okay, so it's third film. So he assembles a team for a racetrack heist. I like heist films. Yung mga ganun. Italian Job. Type ko yung mga ganun.
Yeah, pero if we're talking about mafia, I mean, yeah, okay, fine. Sige, he formed a group, so gangster na sila. I guess, yeah.
Yeah. So if you assemble a team, most likely it's something like that.
Forward.
I think that's the formula that's always being used by the Fast and the Furious genre. Like, di ba? Laging they're always bringing back together, parang maghihiwalay sila kasi they're done with the mission, dahil kumita na sila, whatever. Tapos, babalik sila together. Yeah. So, it's the same type. Number 1, of course, shows here, it's The Godfather, the first one. And the favorite line here, it says, "Leave the gun, take the cannoli." What does that mean?
It just shows how easy for them is to kill.
Right.
It's as simple as that. Why? They just killed someone in that scene. Shot
Inside his office, no?
No, in a car.
Ay, sa office ba yun?
No,
Sa kotse.
it was in a car. The shooter was behind. Binaril sa ulo.
Hindi, minsan
Na,
yung sa
binaril sa
dulo,
ulo.
yung minsan, yun, tinagamit nila?
Garote. Wire.
Okay.
One interesting about The Godfather is not everyone knows that a lot of the actors were actual mobsters.
Right, oo.
Yung sinasabi yung inano yung leg, si Carlo Rizzi, is a real mafia person.
Wow.
Yes.
Kaya if you watch the movie, there are some bad type of acting by some characters, and the reason for that is because they're not really actors.
And the reason why
they're
they did
real
that,
life mobsters.
during the first half, not even, the first fourth of the shoot, the New York Mafia, I think it was the Gambino family. They got angry at the production of Godfather. They started threatening them. So, nagkaroon ng nag-usap-usap, and ni-require nila is, maglagay kayo ng tao namin, so it's gonna be genuine.
Right, oo.
So, a lot of the actors that you see in this movie are actual members of either the Gambino or Bonanno family of New York.
Right.
So,
Angas, no?
yeah, angas. They threaten them with union strikes, etc. Mawawalan sila ng cameraman, ng crew. Yeah, yung
And
ginawa
because they
nila
can
dyan.
actually really do that.
Aside from the death threats.
Where was this shot? New York ba talaga to? Hindi.
New York.
New York talaga.
Yeah.
Let's go to Studiobinder because they have a different take on their top. Actually, it's a top 30 list, but we'll start with their number 10. which is number 10, French Connection. Okay, part police thriller, part international gangster drama. So, what? Gene Hackman to. So
Gene
he
Hackman.
plays a New York detective Popeye who uncovers a New York city drug trade with the French Connection. Ha. Yeah, it's ironic.
And it's funny, he actually looks
Sa
like
gangster?
Popeye.
Ah,
Tingnan mo, kamukha na si Popeye
right,
talaga.
kulang
siya.
na lang Did he play Popeye talaga? Di ba there was a Popeye
I don't know,
movie?
yeah, I can't remember kung sino yun.
Yeah, alam ko, he probably played that role. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 9. Okay, this is
So I never watched
it says
that.
this is the top one of the top Italian gangster movie, Gomorrah,
Yeah, but the photo that they used, bro, I mean, come on.
2008.
Two guys in their underwear with, that's an AK and a,
Parang
and
AK,
a, and a
oh.
shotgun. I think that's a Benelli shotgun.
Okay, so it's
Come on, man.
it's based on a book of the same name about the real mafia group Napoli. Okay.
Mhm.
So Gomorrah is an indictment of gangster films that inspires young people to take up a life of crime. Okay.
Yeah, because in Napoli, because in Italy, different regions have different names for mafia. So in this case pala, real mafia group from Napoli.
Right.
Because in Sicily, that's the Mano Negra, the Black Hand, which gave birth to the mafiosi. So okay, yeah, different regions kasi in Italy have. I just can't remember right now. If you're mainlander, kasi Sicily is an island off of Italy. So they have their own. Para sa kanila, yung mga Sicilian mafia, yan yung pinaka-hardcore.
Pinaka-hardcore.
Yeah, because they're farmers and fishermen, pero papatayin ka nila. Diba? I mean,
it's not glamorous.
in fact, during World War II, I think it was World War II, in order to gain access to Italy, they had the world military had to ask permission from the local mafia boss.
If they can shoot.
If I remember right, my history is so bad. Axis and Allied power. I think the Allied, in order to be able to access Italy, had to ask permission from local mafia bosses. Yeah,
Because you can do this.
they played a big role during the war.
So in this movie, it says one particular in this film is that it condemned this in a way, like one example is Scarface.
Yes.
So the children in this film say they want to be like Tony Montana, but the life of crime they find is not the one they had envisioned for the movies. So that shows a kind of in this list, I don't think they would show Scarface. And just to insert, I think even if it's a cult classic, it's not in the top 10 of most lists. Why? Why do you think so?
Which one?
Scarface. I didn't know Scarface was a 1930s film original.
It was. It's a black and white film. Black and white film on Flickstore.
On Flickstore ba?
Yes, it's there. It's there.
Don't look for it, guys.
Yeah. It's why? Because Tony Montana, a political prisoner from Cuba.
Cuba.
Diba? I mean,
my name is Tony Montana.
no, they look down on it. But they shouldn't be judging people who want to be like Tony Montana, because a lot of people wanted to be like Michael Jordan. When I grow up, I want to be like Mike. It was an ad. And these are basketball fanatics. These kids who say that they idolize Tony Montana, I don't think they idolize him for killing, but they idolize him from rising from
the bottom to the top.
And the only reason why I think they're not on the top, he's not on the top 10, actually I can't find a reason why. Maybe because if you look at him, he had a crew of 4 people.
In his mansion.
4. The guy who married his sister that he eventually killed. The guy who got chopped up in the bathroom when they were dealing with Colombians, I think. I can't remember. So he's a one-man gang.
He's a huge operation.
He's a one-man gang. Yeah. So that's what I think.
Okay. Number 8, it's a French film,
Thank you.
A Prophet. It doesn't show the It's a thrilling gangster film about a young man who finds himself recruited into the Corsican mafia.
Corsican. Yeah.
Corsican mafia while serving a prison sentence. So A Prophet is a modern gangster movie. Okay, so this... Okay, sana may subtitles para pwede ko panoorin. Kasi it's a French film eh. It's played by Tahar Rahim.
If you
Okay.
could send me a list later,
Yeah.
I think this is if
Okay.
it's about the Corsican mafia.
Okay, next one is from Brazil.
Interesting.
Number 7, City of God from 2002. City of
Yes.
God is a unique gangster film for a few reasons. Number 1, it's told by a narrator. Number 2, it uses photography to connect the story. And number 3, it's one of the few prominent Brazilian gangster movies. So we all know Brazil is really one of the most dangerous countries to be in,
Yeah.
right? With all the beautiful people that's there, it's really one of the most dangerous place to be in.
It actually is. I've never watched this, but
In
I
the
think-
favelas, if you go to the favelas, if you have no business going there, don't go there. That's it. City of God is about the rise and fall of criminal
What's your
underlords. All right. Okay, so this is a nice film to watch probably.
Yeah, I think. It's,
All right, let's move on to number 6.
Remind me later.
Oh, number 6. This is a top Russian gangster movie. Very timely.
Yes, I watched this.
Eastern Promises. What is this about from the top of your
See, the
head?
problem is when I watched this on VCD with no subtitles.
Oh, shit. So you just watch the action?
I just watched action and I had to interpret it based on this is. I have to watch this again because this
Oh, wow.
came out. This is Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah, Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah. So I have to watch it again. Pero
So his Russian accent here was really good, huh?
Yeah.
Because he's not Russian.
this is it's worth sitting
Okay.
down and watching. Really.
So the story follows a British nurse who becomes entangled in the Russian mafia after
Yes.
discovering the notebook of a young girl that connected her pregnancy to a prominent mobster.
Mobster, yes.
Okay. So it's a definitive Russian mob movie and one of Mortensen's best performances
Yeah,
ever.
Vigo, solid siya dito.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to talk about tough guys, bro, you should watch him here. But he was di ba? Si Vigo di ba? Si
Sa Lord of the Rings. Oh.
Si Strider.
Oh,
Yeah,
sa Lord
yeah.
of the Rings. Yeah. Okay, number 5. Okay, this is the best classic gangster movie from 1930s, Public Enemy.
Si Public Enemy is who?
Pre-code era film from the late 20s to 1934. So it's one of the most interesting Hollywood films made, it says. So it's silent era. Okay, so pre-code existed after the silent era, but before the advent of censorship guidelines. Wala pa censorship niyan. So perhaps
Diba
no
there's
movie...
a Johnny Depp Public Enemy na movie?
I think that was remade too. Yeah.
Is this a remake?
No, this was the original. Tapos I think Johnny Depp was Public Enemy na remake na. So this was an era of fundamental transition for the American people, and the wealth and grandeur that pushed the 1920s through exhausted itself entirely for the decades to come. So it's a time of the Great Depression. Okay. It says the Public Enemy put issue center stage while telling one of the first large-scope stories of gangsters in cinema history.
Yeah,
So,
the biggest mistake of the U.S. was prohibition.
prohibition talaga.
Because
yun.
they just gave them a chance to make more money.
More money.
Yeah, so they just opened a totally new market.
And not for the government pa.
Yeah,
Oo.
exactly.
I mean, you make alcohol illegal and it's something that people consume, like coffee.
Yeah.
What happens? Imagine if you stop trade of coffee because they say it's a drug. It's gonna be crazy, right?
So Rotten Tomatoes is 100%.
Oh.
I wonder where I can find this.
Okay, next, number 4. Greatest gangster, on one of the greatest gangster movies, again, Once Upon a Time
Yeah,
in America.
Once Upon
Okay,
a
we
Time,
talked
yeah,
about that.
yeah.
Alright, so let's skip. Again, number 3, best gangster movie of all time, Godfather. See, he put it at number 3
Yeah.
here in Studiobinder. Interesting. Alright. And then number 2, he put Goodfellas
Goodfellas.
at number 2. Right? And at number 1,
You know what the biggest irony in Goodfellas is? They center around the story of this guy.
who?
See, this was the
Liotta?
young Ray Liotta,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But he wasn't Italian.
He was American, di ba?
He
Siya ba
was
yung lagi
Irish.
napapraning na tumitingin sa
Yeah, he was
sky?
Irish. Siya yung nagdidil ng coke. He was
Huh?
Irish and he was answering to the Italian mafia.
Right.
So, historically, the Italians and the Irish would kill each other on sight.
Yeah. So, pero, sa number 1, of course,
The Godfather Part 2.
Godfather Part 2.
I agree.
Why do you think it makes sense for that to be above the first one.
Because it makes people understand what Godfather 1 is all about. How they started.
Yeah.
Because there's this notion na because when Godfather 1
Parang
started,
sumingaw na lang.
it started with I Believe in America.
Yeah.
Boss na siya. It started in a scene, wedding scene in his
Oo.
Staten Island house. Sobrang ganda ng bahay niya. Big time na siya. He's meeting with the senator.
Oo.
So, people didn't know. Okay.
Okay. Big time na talaga siya.
Big
Okay.
time siya. Pero Godfather 2 showed how he got there.
Oo.
Ano yung pinagdaanan niya.
Kung paano siya naging nag-hustler.
How his mother was killed, his father was killed, his brother Paulo was killed.
Sa maliit na apartment lang sila nakatira eh. Oo.
That's in, nung nasa
Oo.
US na siya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Pero this one is a list. So it says the best gangster films of all time. It shows a twisted side to the American dream. So this, most likely this is more American. So
Okay.
this list from Esquire naman.
I'm waiting for something. Sana lumabas.
Pero
na.
wala hindi siya by number ah. So it just shows film. So
Okay.
number 1 is The Untouchables.
Of course.
Okay, Robert De Niro, okay. We talked about that. Next one is Akira. Okay. It's weird.
1988.
1988 adaptation of the longest running manga series. Okay, so it's manga. Okay.
Okay,
So
then you should
probably
talk-
si Brian would
Yeah,
know
you should
about
talk to
this.
Brian about
Si
this,
Brian, yeah. Okay. So our friend Brian
Of
Malantic
course.
would know about this because he knows about manga. Okay. Next one is Godfather.
Did you say
Okay.
hentai or
Huh?
manga pala manga?
Manga. Iba yung henta.
No, kasi, okay, sorry.
Okay,
Ibang gang yun, ibang gang.
After Godfather, Goodfellas, okay. Okay, ito gusto ko to. Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, of course. But
Okay.
that's unfair, man.
Why?
Because Boys in the Hood came after another supposedly cult classic.
Which is, yeah,
Diba?
Goodfellas.
No. Yeah, let's go through this and then we'll talk about that one later.
Sige. Boys in the Hood. Alright, okay. First time meron tayong ditong African-American kasi na lead cast eh. Most of the films we talked about were, wala nga dito si yung kay Denzel Washington, one of my American Gangster. I like that film eh. Gangs of
Gangs
New
of
York.
New York, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Leo din yun. Okay. Godfather Part 2 is here. City of God, Ito
Again.
naman, from
I have to watch that
from
later.
Brazil, okay.
Yeah.
I have to watch this. So, we're not gonna pretend we know all
Yeah.
these films. Next one is The Departed. What's the gist of this again?
It's
Parang family to rin, sa Boston nga, see?
yeah, si ano
Martin
to
Scorsese directed
Yeah, Jack
film.
Nicholson, but Jack Nicholson as a gang mafia head. Parang,
Hindi.
I mean,
So, it stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Martin Sheen, and Alec Baldwin.
yeah.
Most notably. Okay, the film is essentially a rat race between two rats to rat out one another.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a long movie. But I don't find it entertaining because it's
Okay. Sige.
first I didn't like Jack Nicholson as the head of the mob.
Parang yung mukha ni Jack Nicholson pang mas thriller kasi, no?
And saka I think
His
he played,
acting.
di ba he played Joker ba?
Joker, yeah. First
played
Batman, yeah.
Parang yung identity niya kasi para sa akin,
Na-lock na
it's stuck
doon.
with Joker.
Oh.
So every time I see him, even without the makeup,
Oh,
that's what I remember.
yeah.
If you're gonna represent as a head of a mafia,
You can't be a clown looking.
yeah, saka it's still Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
diba?
So,
Yeah,
may weight to it pa rin.
It's an entertaining watch, but I don't think it should be a
cult
mafia
classic.
film.
Oh. But
Yeah.
is it a cult classic?
No,
No. Okay.
No.
Next one. Okay, another
of course.
black
And
lead
then
star.
again.
Menace to Society.
And then again, they put that in, and there was something else that came before that.
Which was?
We'll talk about it at the
Okay.
end of your list.
So it's directed by Alan Albert Hughes. So it follows the coming of age of Kane Lawson, an 18-year-old living in Watts, Los Angeles. So he's determined to break out of the neighborhood's cycle of crime. All right. So it shows Jada Pinkett Smith, Taryn Turner,
Careful what you say.
Lawrence Tate, and Charles Dutton. So it's the influence around Lawson that's talked about here. Most powerful of all, though, is the reality that even his best influence and intentions don't guarantee a way out. So wait, was he dealing drugs here?
Yeah, but they're more of like localized gangsters, you know.
Parang may series pinapanood natin, Snowfall.
This is
Ganun din,
more
no? Yung
of
crack cocaine eh.
yeah, pero it didn't really focus on them selling drugs.
Okay.
It focused more. Actually, this movie has good lessons.
Oh, because he
Uh,
was 18 here.
Yeah, and he was a young father, if I'm right, if I
Oo.
remember right. He came from a supposedly good family, pero the influence talaga of friends and yeah.
Okay. Next one is Miller's Crossing.
Again, yes.
1990 film. Okay, we showed that kanina, no? Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
here. Now it showed
Finally, there you go.
American Gangster. Okay. So it's one of my favorite films. I mean, is it 25%? Was he asking for 25% from the
Yeah.
sugar?
Yeah,
He issued 25% and then he shot the guy.
yeah.
One of the scenes has stuck with me.
One thing I like about this movie
Ridley
is
Scott pala to.
it's based on a true story.
Yeah, it is.
But of course, maraming exaggerations in the movie.
Siyempre, Frank Lucas.
But
Yeah.
Frank, you know, it happened, really happened, you know.
He's infamous gangster that's based in Harlem
Yeah.
for trafficking heroin to the U.S. on planes returning from the Vietnam War.
Mm-hmm.
So he gathered his entire family and involved his family in the business.
One thing I like about this one is he went straight to the source.
Yeah.
Of the
oo.
drugs.
He cut out the middleman eh.
I mean,
Kinat
yeah,
niya yung middleman
he
dito
had the
eh.
balls to do that.
Oo.
And
To go to Vietnam directly.
and to do it using the U.S.
Oo.
Army.
Tigas ng mukha, di ba? He used the government who's trying to, cut off the
That's
drugs.
One
Tapos,
thing I really like about this movie.
so his skill, it shows his cunning trade skills, his creativity starts to, like, being traced by the local authorities. So that's the gist of the movie. Okay. Again, next one is Once Upon a Time in America. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Reservoir Dogs. So that's the list. Okay. You were saying about something?
I wonder who makes these lists, bro. I mean,
So these are writers naman eh. Writers
you want to
and
talk
that we
about
research.
gangster movies? Where is Bronx Tale?
A Bronx Tale.
A Bronx
Oh.
Tale. I mean, the best line there is when the main character, C, I think his name was it's a weird name, Kalugio or something.
Yeah.
They call him C. Was trying to run after a guy who owed him money,
Right.
$20.
That's it.
Yeah, $20. And the mafia boss told him, you know, let him go
Yeah.
because you're never gonna see him anymore. And it costs you $20 to get rid of someone that you
Right.
can't rely on. And that's the truth.
Wait. Of course, there's
Huh? Yeah.
there's no gangster films here that's based in the Philippines. But if you were to name probably one gangster mob film type here in the Philippines, what would that be?
Si yung kay that Esquire guy. Si the
Ashong?
Hari ng Tondo. Si
Is it Ashong Salonga?
Yeah.
Ashong Salonga?
Minus the the Kalesa chase
Okay,
scene.
okay, yeah.
Okay.
Totoo
Imagine
kaya yung ganun? May Kalesa Chase.
bro, hindi. The point is, habulan ng Kalesa tapos naka-automatic kayo ng baril.
Oh,
Hindi kayo
di tinamaan
nagkakatamaan.
yung mga kabayo.
I mean, the problem in Filipino films kasi exaggeration on things. It's either maliit na granada pag sumabog, sabog yung buong hotel. or naubos yung, or makipagputukan ka ng isang clip, 8 lang yung laman, pero 20 tao na napatay mo.
Oo.
Yung mga ganun ba, those little small things na hindi nila kinoconsider.
Yun yung mga lapses eh in the
Isa pang
setup.
hindi na mention dito is this is a cult classic. It was retitled. It's called Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah, Blood and Blood. I only knew about that film because he showed it to me.
Yeah, Bound by Honor.
Pero di ba hindi Latino yung lead doon? Puti. Tama ba?
Mestizo.
Oo, mestizo. Pero was he white or he's not? Pero it
In
talks
real
about...
life, is he white?
Okay.
I don't think he's white.
Can you check Blood In, Blood Out?
Si...
Maganda yung film na yun eh. These are films na mababa sa Rotten
they have
Tomatoes.
Look at the yung mga artista, mga sikat rin eh. Even si Machete was there. What's his name?
Who?
That Mexican guy who was really part of the Mexican mafia.
Here? So in Rotten Tomatoes, 62%.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why
Chapa.
it's not there.
Benjamin Bratt.
Benjamin Bratt is there.
Okay.
Damian
Jesse
Chapa.
Borrego. Huh?
Si
Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo is
Yeah.
there. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that lineup.
Ay, Mexican mafia gangster film. Madalas
But it's in
Danny
America.
Trejo.
It happened in America.
In America.
Yeah.
Sa prison to, di ba?
No, it started
Part lang.
as a street gang.
Tapos napunta siya sa
They
preso.
were, they were a street gang and then went to jail and then he had to serve La M.
What's with the white shirts? Lahat sila naka-white shirt. What's the
Well, it's
symbolism
just
nun?
up to now. They're
Up to
all
now,
like-
di ba?
Yeah.
Oo.
And this is...
naka-white tank top sila parati.
There was another film made exactly with the same storyline.
Right.
It's called American Me. And there was a big issue between the two producers because it's practically the same story. May konting difference lang sa delivery.
Right.
It's the same. A young guy got in trouble with his local gangsters.
Anong film?
American Me. That's with
American Me.
Yeah.
1992
Si
film.
what's his name?
Uh,
He's passed away already.
who? Edward James Olmos?
Yeah, Edward James Olmos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's the story.
That American Me tells of the story of why si Blood In Blood Out
Gang
became
life siya,
a mestizo.
Oo.
Alright? He's not pure Mexican. Because in American Me, his wife was raped by an American.
Ben America.
So yung lumabas na anak niya is mestizo.
Oo.
And
Half.
in Blood In Blood Out, technically that's him.
Oo.
The white, si Damian Chapa. He tried to do Blood In Blood Out 2. Naging parang YouTube video na... hindi
Sama
naman-
na ng acting.
Yeah, sobrang sama, sobrang
Oo.
sagwa. He
So-
came out Street Fighter also. Siya siya si Ken.
Okay.
Yung sa old Street Fighter na movie.
Right.
But, you can't talk about gangster films without talking about Blood In, Blood Out.
Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're really into watching these types of films, Blood In, Blood Out is not in the list, but probably in the top 50 of
What
dun
year
sa
was
isa
Blood
eh.
In, Blood Out?
1991?
What year was Menace?
1990.
Boys in the Hood sa Menace to Society.
1991.
Oh, see?
Sorry, Blood In, Blood Out was 1993. My bad. Yeah, Boys in the Hood. Boys in the Hood was 1991.
All right.
See, so
Maybe it's the
magkakasunod
first
eh, no?
Mexican mafia.
Oh.
Yeah, because the focus of Blood In, Blood Out is Mexican mafia.
Yeah.
One more movie that they failed to put is American History X.
Oh, yeah. So pa yun, solid.
How can you
Yeah.
not put it in your list? American History, see, it's there. You search for American Me, right after it is
1998.
American History X.
Of course, that's Edward Norton, Edward Furlong. Those are the main guys there.
Yeah.
See, sometimes Rotten Tomato, hindi ako naniniwala kasi pag sa ano eh.
Yeah, I
Oh.
mean,
You don't base it watching those types of films based on Rotten Tomatoes eh. Because it may not be for the one reviewing it.
for me, this was the best acting ni Edward Norton.
But this
Well,
was
actually, he did
83%
one,
pala tayo
he did
natin.
one pala yung parang siraulo siya na
Oo. I mean,
killed the priest or something. I forget the movie.
Oh.
But we're talking about gangster movies anyway.
Fight Club, Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pero you can never forget the scene of Edward Norton kicking in that guy's
Right. Sa gutter.
put your teeth on the curb.
Death by gutter.
Yeah,
Is
and
that
then
that's what they call it, right?
stomped on his
Lagyan mo yung panga mo sa gutter, nasa tadyakan ka. Patay.
sa bato.
Eh di wasak skull mo. The end.
Di ba?
Yeah.
And then
One of the worst ways to die.
Yung slow-mo scene niya na walang shirt tapos may swastika.
Swastika.
Parating yung mga police. The impact was so solid.
This one.
See?
Oh.
Kasi aarestohin na siya eh.
Oh. Diba?
And this is it's also a gangster film.
Yeah.
Though it talks about the KKK.
Well, it's marked by violence, racism, neo-Nazi. So he goes to prison after killing 2 black youths and tries to steal his car.
Yeah.
So, that's the list that we have here for movies. We don't want to really put a top 1, top 10 really, but we're just reading the list. But all of them are really nice in their own way. Kumbaga, watching mob, gangster, or these types of films, it's really subjective eh.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't, put let's say this one is to
Yeah, but like in the case of Bronx Tale came out 1990.
1990, yeah.
Or it came out the same time as Miller's Crossing and everything else.
Yeah.
I don't know, but how come it didn't appear in any of the...
Right. Maybe dun sa una, it showed in the top 50. Probably. I think parang lumabas yung Bronx Tale dun sa top 50.
Nandun ba siya?
Dun sa unang list, yung sa may top 50. Type, i-search mo. No, yung sa una. Yung sa may top 50. Ano ba yan? Walang Bronx Tale?
Tama.
King of New York pala dito. Yung.
Tapos, ayun, the movie I was talking about is Lawless.
Casino's not...
Casino's a classic.
Casino pa rin si Joe Pesci rin.
Yes.
Yan yung, Casino yung binaseball bat siya tapos nilibing
Yes,
siya.
saka yung
Casino.
kapatid niya.
Yeah.
If you check out Lawless, that movie,
Ang dami rin.
it's also a gangster movie.
Okay.
And
See, there's so many. So if you're really into these types of genres, there's a lot to watch. So the list that we made we'll share probably the links to all these 3 sites para you can check it out on the page. But yeah, if we didn't mention a movie that you think should be in this list, let us know in the comment section. And again, we'll see you guys in the next episode of the AA Show. Thanks to my brother-in-law Luis for dropping by. We out.